Hey there everybody, my name's Alex, spelled like that. Today we're going to be reviewing the Fifine K669D dynamic microphone. Now, if you haven't seen the previous episode, I went over the Fifine K669C condenser microphone, as well as a little bit of a background of how I got in touch with the company Fifine and secured these microphones. So if you haven't checked that out, I'm going to leave a link in the description below. Be sure to check that out. In fact, I'm recording this part right now on the condenser mic itself, so you can kind of hear how good it sounds. Now, Fifine is more of a podcasting / streaming company, but it seems to me that they're trying to get into music audio or audio production type stuff. So we're kind of on the ground floor for this microphone specifically, and so we're gonna throw it through the ringer. The way that we're gonna do this review is the way we've done every other review. Just in case you haven't seen, we're going to put it through some vocals, some guitar, some bass guitar, some drums. We'll probably do some individual drums because this is a dynamic microphone, and maybe some other things along the way as well. Another fun thing is when I was talking to Zier, who's the marketing consultant for Fifine, he said that they felt very confident in the durability of this microphone. So we're going to get to do something that most people don't normally do on a review, and that's going to be, we're going to be dropping this microphone and seeing how well it performs after we've dropped it. So yeah, let's jump into that. But before we do that, I want you to make sure that you go down, you hit the like button, you hit the subscribe button, and make sure that your bell notifications are turned on, so that way you are notified every single week when we release a new video. Normally they come out every Monday. The past week it came out on Wednesday because I'm trying to play around a little bit with the algorithm. So stay with me on this weird schedule that I'm putting us on, but I guarantee you we will have a video coming out every single week. So make sure that the bell notifications are notified. Okay, now that we got all that business out of the way, let's jump on into the unboxing. Okay, so here we are at our little unboxing area. Here is the box we've got. I'm just going to go ahead and peel this tape off. So, here we go. Now when we open it up, we have our user guide. We're going to set that off to the side for now. Little piece of foam. And if you saw the condenser mic, it looks like we're looking at a very similar situation as far as what comes in the box. So, we have the mic itself. Again, this is the 669D dynamic microphone. Comes on a little microphone stand. I would say that my issue with this microphone holder / microphone stand is the same issue that I had with the last one, which is that it feels very flimsy. It feels easy to break. It feels like it's made out of plastic. So I would want that to be a little bit heavier or made out of metal or thicker plastic. But the microphone itself feels very solid. So let's just take this off. And so here's the microphone itself. And let's see if it'll let us. It will. Take the capsule off so we can look at the insides. Wasn't able to do this on the last one because it was bolted in, but there you go. There's the dynamic. There's the dynamic microphone. Looks very similar to an SM57, just much wider. Okay, so we've got our microphone holder, microphone stand. The one thing that I do like about these stands is there's this little, if I can get it to focus, there's this little edge of rubber. Again, I don't know why I like that so much, but I like that once you get it in there, it's not going to be spinning in the holder itself. So that's good. Okay, and then sweet. So this also came in the condenser microphone, and I really like it. So I love the idea that I'm going to have two of them now. So this is a little desk microphone stand. It's very sturdy, very durable. Has little rubber balls on the ends of them, so that way it's not sliding around. on your desk. And yeah, it's very heavy. It's not going to go anywhere. It's the exact same one as what came with the condenser microphone, and yeah, that condenser microphone did not move at all. So it looks like it's going to be the same deal with the dynamic. So we're going to put that over there. All right, that in the middle for some nice framing. So now we're going to look at this product user guide. And I'm assuming it's probably very similar. Yep, on the back here, you have where it tells you how to put it onto a arm stand or on any stand. I really wish they would put the polar pattern on here where you could actually see it, but it's not on there. And it's pretty much just instructions on how to put it on a stand. Over here, you can see we don't need phantom power, so it's showing you how to connect to a mixer or audio interface. I really like this kind of information in this center spot here of how to actually record into it. And then protection and tips and tricks and stuff like that, certification, warranty, all that stuff. But there you go, pretty easy stuff. All right, so there's the unboxing. It looks very nice, but let's see how it sounds. So the first thing up is gonna be a vocal.
Slow down, you crazy child. You're so ambitious for a juvenile, but then if you're so smart, tell me why are you still so afraid? Yeah. 'Cause where's the fire? What's the hurry about? You better cool it off before you burn it out. You've got so much to do and only so many hours in a day. Yeah.
I found this vocal very dry, which is pretty typical of a dynamic microphone. I feel like the EQ balance is actually really good, but there's a huge lack of life in the vocal itself. It feels very much like this would be the perfect microphone for like a pop singer, where you just want that dry audio, super dry. But if you're looking for something with a little bit of life, it's not going to be this microphone. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. It's not quite hitting it for me.
Although it's so romantic on the borderline tonight.
All right, next thing that we need to test is some guitar. We're going to play around with some chords, maybe some single string, but definitely some chords, and just see how well it encapsulates the whole thing. For the guitar, great transients. You can hear those strings really, really well, hear the chords really well. You can hear the body of the guitar. It still feels really dry and lifeless though. It does have great dynamics. I'm thinking that this would probably be better to pair with a condenser to get more transients. So I would record with a condenser first and then record with this microphone. And that way you can kind of layer those extra transients on top. But as it stands, this is going to be a 7 out of 10 as well. And now if you're laying down guitar, you know you got to lay down bass. You always got to lay down bass. So let's go ahead and throw some bass guitar on there. For the bass, I was actually kind of surprised. I felt like it had great tone, great sound, nice dynamics. There wasn't a ton of bass, but honestly, I'm playing so high on the strings, you're not really looking for bass here, but I do feel like there should be a little bit more bass frequency in it. That being said, I feel like it's a step up from the vocal or the guitar, so we're gonna give it an 8 out of 10. Now, you normally don't use dynamic microphones as an overhead for drum, but we're going to give that a shot anyway. And then we're also going to put it into a practical scenario. So I'm going to put it on the snare drum, and then I'll put it on a tom, and then I'll put it on a kick. and we'll just hear how that kind of sounds. Now for the drum overheads, I was actually kind of surprised. It has a very even sound, but it's very drum heavy. The cymbals in the higher frequencies definitely get squashed down a little bit. The toms sound okay, but again, there's not a whole lot of life. It doesn't have that beautiful room sound, which again, it's a dynamic mic. That's not really what it's built for, but we still got to give it a rating. So I'm giving this an 8 out of 10. I think it sounds good enough that if you were a first-time producer / this is the first time you're recording drums, I think that this would be a really solid option for you. I just think that there are a lot of other microphones for just a little bit more that would do better, like the K669D. For the snare, it sounds amazing. There is a little bit of bleed, but that's always going to happen. It actually sounds like there's some life to the drum, which is kind of crazy. It could use a little bit more, but I think it sounds really, really good. It's got a really even sound. It dynamically takes care of any kind of like really loud hits or really soft hits. It does a great job. So I'm giving this a 9 out of 10 for the snare. Now for the floor tom, I'm getting some really good tone. I'd really like some more low end, but I still think that it sounds great. Kind of the same stuff that I've been saying. I feel like the dynamics are really good. So I'm gonna give this a 9 out of 10 as well. Now for the kick, I found that it had really good attack, but very little resonance, which would be like the boo, the actual voice of the drum. The attack is just when the beater hits the head. I would like more bass in the kick, but I do think that this microphone would make a better batter side mic. That's where instead of sticking it inside the drum, you actually stick it on the outside by where the beater is actually hitting the head. I think it would sound better there, but overall I was not that impressed with this as a bass drum mic, so I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. Now what I'd like to do is I'd like to put it into another percussive area, but this time it's going to be a hand drum. So we're going to be playing our Doombeck and just see how that sounds. Now for the Doombeck, it sounds really good. I want more lows, but I'm wondering if that's not because of the plastic head, that it's not going to give us that. But I feel like it's got great dynamics, but I would definitely want more lows. You're getting too much of the attack and not enough of the resonance of the drum. Kind of similar to how I felt about the bass. So, but I do feel like this sounds better than the bass mic. So I'm going to give this one an 8 out of 10. Okay, so that's what it sounds like on all those different instruments. As we could kind of tell, it sounded better in an individual kind of situation. So like on the snare drum as opposed to being on the entire kit, it just tends to do a better job, which that's pretty typical of dynamic microphones. I'm actually talking into the 669D right now, so this gives you kind of an idea of what it sounds like when someone's talking over it. I think it's a really solid mic, don't get me wrong. I just think that the condenser mic, the K669C, sounded so much better on all of these instruments than this one did. But again, I think it's just probably more of a better drum mic / speaking mic. I don't think that it's really meant for like full singing and belting and stuff like that. I don't think its best use is for melodic purposes. With all that said, you know, we had some positives, we had some negatives. With the hardware, we had a negative that this stand that it's attached to right here is too plasticky. It feels like it's gonna break, but we can't really control that. Everything else hardware wise feels really good. The one microphone cable, the XLR cable that I have plugged into it now, went into it nice and smooth, but it was the same one that struggled to go into the K669C condenser mic. So I don't know, I think maybe it was just an issue with that brand specifically, but that's something for them to keep in mind. So tallying up everything, looking at the way this works, I'm gonna give this a 7 out of 10. I think it did really good again on the individual drums, but I don't think it has many uses outside of that. I think you could get away with some stuff with this microphone, but considering the fact that this microphone is priced the same as the condenser, I would go with the condenser over this. With that said, because this makes a really good drum mic and it's cheap, you could consider this for a drum mic. So right now on my drums I use the Audix DPS, I think 7. It's an 8 microphone package. So you get an Audix D2 for your snare, you get a couple of D4s for your toms, you get a D6 for your kick, you get a couple of overhead mics with that as well, and that's gonna run you about $1,000 on Sweetwater or Amazon or wherever. These are $35, they're closer to like $36, $37 a pop. So you could do 1 to 2 of the condenser mics, which again, if you haven't seen that review, the link's in below, and I'll also have the link at the end of this video here in just a minute. So I would do 1 to 2 of the condenser mics as overheads, and then use this for the rest of your drum mics. You can get away with that. Maybe supplement for the kick mic, because I'd go with the D6 hands down compared to this, but you know, that's just something to think about. If you're in kind of a tight situation as far as money and funding is concerned, this is definitely going to be a decent mic for you, but it should not be a permanent mic for you, that's for sure. Whereas with that 669C, the K669C, that I think is a pretty permanent one, and I plan on using that in the future. So okay, now we just have to do one more thing before we go. That hurt. How'd you do? It looks pretty good. It looks like waves coming in pretty clean. Alright, I added a little more force to that. Yeah, it looks pretty good. So yeah, I would say this is pretty durable. Now I'm dropping it on carpet over tile. What if I drop it on tile? Ugh. Okay, so the mesh got dented. But it seems, it's hard to tell. It seems like it's doing okay. We will see. We'll see how it's doing. It definitely messed up that cage there on the outside. Okay, so that's it for our video today. I hope you got some value out of it. If you did, be sure to go down and hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, make sure that your bell notifications are turned on so that way you're notified every single week when we come out with a new video. On top of that, let me know in the comments below, what did you think about this microphone? Was I being a little too harsh on it? Should I have gone a little bit easier considering the price point? Did you think that it sounds better than I did? Let me know. Let's have a discussion in the comments below. If you have any other burning desires, like gear that you want me to unbox and review, please also leave those down in the comments below. That'd be great. And I just may do an unboxing and review of your product. Anyway, thank you all so much. I hope you all have a wonderful week, and I will see you next week. Bye.